Welcome everybody to Abbey Road. I'm Jeremy Hoffman, I'm the events manager here. The really pleased you guys could come down this afternoon and get the chance to spend a bit of time in Studio 2. This is where you are, Studio 2, Abbey Road, the most famous recording studio in the world. To give that a bit of context, the Beatles recorded 210 songs in their career, and they recorded 190 of them in here. So you're kind of in the home of the Beatles. This is where it all began. They did their first audition in here in 1962. They did their first album in here in 1963. They did it in one day, three-hour sessions. They got paid £21 each, which, even if you don't know a lot about English money, is not a huge amount of money. And they went straight to number one, spent 30 weeks at number one and got knocked off by their second album. And so began the reign of the Beatles. For the next 7 years, they rewrote the book. They wrote the book, if you like, on modern music. They changed the way that bands worked. They changed the way that the record industry worked. They changed the way the recordings worked, and they did it in this room. We have a lot of history in this room. We have engineers who still work at Abbey Road who worked on the original Beatles sessions. So they told us an awful lot about what they got up to in here. But the main thing that prevails about their stories is how much the Beatles wanted to pioneer, not just recording and songwriting, but in actual techniques. And so they were constantly saying, why not, why can't we do this, why can't we do that? And they pushed our engineers incredibly hard to realise the sounds that were in their heads. And in that process, they changed modern music, and they created recording techniques like artificial double tracking, for example, and direct injection recording, which are standard procedures these days, but in those days, they didn't exist. A bit like, a good example of that is the recording of Revolution, the guitar sound at the start of Revolution. Very distorted guitar sound, very difficult to achieve by standard techniques in those days. Basically, the Beatles were up in the control room where they spent a lot of time, and they said, why are we always putting a guitar amp in the studio and miking it up? Why can't we just plug the guitars straight into the desk? Which in those days was as a concept, was just unheard of. And so the engineer nervously agreed to do it. They plugged all the guitars in, they turned them up to 10, and they created that incredibly distorted, strident guitar sound, which became Revolution. So to us, that sounds like a guitar sound, obviously a great sound, but you've heard a lot of distorted guitar sounds since then, but this is where it began. This is kind of, ground zero for that kind of stuff. So as you can see, the room, I'm imagining you guys know quite a lot, are quite familiar with Studio 2 from pictures and films, but this room has changed very little in the last 50 or so years. It's pretty much exactly as it was. We've also got a lot of equipment in the studios which is still used every day, which was used throughout that era. So starting over there, for example, there's a 4-track tape machine, which is one of many that EMI studios used at the time. That was used extensively for Beatles recordings, particularly that Magical Mystery Tour, for example. And coming around here, we've got the Challenge piano, one of the two uprights that are part of the kit that is used in this studio. So any band that comes here for a session, this is the equipment they will use. It just happens to have also been used to write some of the most famous songs that were ever written and record. So yeah, the Challenge piano, quite a soft sound. I saw the young man playing on it earlier, incredible piano player. This was used on the softer sounding things like A Fool on the Hill, for example. Coming this way, we've got a Hammond organ, an incredible instrument. This one was used by Billy Preston when he joined the band on the Abbey Road album, and it was used throughout their career on many recordings. And similarly, the Steinway at the end there, which we call the Mrs. Mills or the Lady Madonna piano, it was used on the kind of sort of recordings which required a slightly more tappy sound. It's got almost a honky-tonk sound to it. The hammers have been lacquered so that when they hit the strings, it creates a really bright sound. So these were the tools of the trade when the Beatles were here, and they used every part of the studio. They spent many months in here during the recording of Sgt. Pepper, for example, and so they kind of got bored and started using strange places around the studio, like there's a cupboard next to the control room there, which actually was used to put the whole band in there. When they recorded Your Blues, they decided they actually wanted to get a different room, a different sound, so they put them in a cupboard. They basically experimented with everything they possibly could. So there's many stories. I'm sure you probably know more about the Beatles than I do, but basically I hope for the next couple of hours at least you get a chance to enjoy the atmosphere of this room and kind of soak up some of the vibes of the music that's been recorded in here. As I say, it's unchanged. We keep these live rooms the same because they have a unique sound. So anything you do, if you change the floor, if you change the walls, it changes the sound of this room. So these rooms really are untouched for decades, basically. So have a great time. You're going to be lucky enough to record a Beatles song in the Beatles studio, which is pretty once in a lifetime opportunity. I hope you have a fantastic evening. Just to introduce David. David Coombs is your vocal coach for this evening. He is an incredible vocal coach, an incredible singer, and I know he's going to get the best out of all of you guys. So for the next couple of hours, enjoy yourself. You probably won't get the chance to do this again. So have a great afternoon.
So, whatever ideas you had about coming into Studio 2 and just having a little casual wander around, hitting the occasional G sharp on a piano, you can chuck those out the window. We have a great band. They're not in the room at the moment. One of them is at the top of the stairs there. And the band completely re-recorded All You Need Is Love. All of the music, they completely re-recorded it, basically stripped it back to being a backing track. I came in this morning and re-recorded all of the vocals. And what we're going to do is, piece by piece, take me off the recording. So we're going to put you onto their backing track until, hopefully, an hour and 45 minutes from now, you will have recorded a single in Studio 2. Yeah. Just think about that for a second. Every time when we do something like this and I head into that little booth in the corner and start to re-record the vocals, there's always that second where the heart kind of flips and you think, oh my goodness, that's what's going to happen. So before we do anything, what I'd like you to do is to put your headsets on. There's a pair of hands headsets on every chair. So as long as you're not sharing a chair, you can have a set. And then what I'm going to ask Chris to do up in the studio is to play the track that myself and the band put together for you this morning. Is there anyone in the room that doesn't know the song, All You Need Is Love? So Chris, whenever you're ready, could you play us down the track in its entirety? So we can get an idea of what we're going to play. Can everyone hear something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're all plugged in, right?
You hear it?